Hello, everyone. We are Jana and Florian, and today we would like to take you on our data governance journey. We did it with a step-by-step approach, and why we even started that journey, Florian will tell you right now.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Florian Koch, and I'm head of data management at AIDAQ, the Chamber of Commerce here in Berlin. And as a contact point for politics and administration, we are committed to improving the economic framework conditions here in Berlin. We represent the interests of about 340,000 companies and businesses here, and all these 340,000 are our customers. We offer services, trainings, and certification, and also we organize business events for connecting. Around 400 employees, they support the companies here with over 800 products and services every day. And of course, with all the processes behind that. So in our transformation work to manage all these processes, we are guided by three basic principles. One, we use technology as an enabler to achieve our goals. Second, we focus on our customers' needs and create personalized and tailored experiences. And third, we develop standards and automation, and data is the foundation for efficiency, quality, and smart decisions. And now here we come. It's about data, and that's why we're here today. So in the past, it was like this. We had almost on a daily basis, we had questions like, who is responsible for the data? Where did this number come from? And why can't I access the data I actually need? So that was the reality, because no clear ownership, missing data lineage, and blocked and unclear access. So because data was treated more as a byproduct than as a real asset. And in the future, we want to change that. We want to use data as an asset and, on the long run, even as a product. And then the question we want to hear are very different, like the one shown over there. Can we reuse the data product for a new use case? That's where we want to go. And that shift from today, well, not really, but frustration to the tomorrow's reusability is exactly the journey we set out to take now. So that was the situation in the past, and that's why we looked for somebody with a right experience and the expertise, and that's when we started to work with Nortal and Jana.
Yeah, thank you. At Nortal, we're helping our clients to use their data and to deal with complex problems for more than 25 years by now. We started in Estonia by digitalization in Estonia in the government sector, but now we operate around different industries, and we are now more than 2,700 experts worldwide. What all of our customers have in common, also this project, is a certain level of complexity and to make data work for them and digitalize processes. Together with the AIDAQ, we choose a step-by-step process which we want to introduce you right now.
Right. At the beginning, we see data was fragmented and it was inconsistent, and there were so many directions we could have gone. So what we needed was a clear and structured journey, not just random single fixes. We had back a lot of them. So what's the structured journey?
Yeah, exactly. For us, it was clear that we couldn't fix everything at once. So for us, it was important to set clear priorities on where do we start, what are the biggest challenges, and also create real value by finding a use case which is making an impact for the company and is aligned with the company goals. We didn't want to have governance just and creating rules for the sake of creating rules. It should be practical. and it should be structured and gave us focus. So this is why we came up with these 6 steps. And yeah, let's start with the first step. How did we actually set these priorities?
Yes, we started with an honest, and I really say honest, look at the situation and the challenges we are facing. The problem was everything felt like priority. We had data issues in multiple systems, and it wasn't obvious where to start at all.
And for solving this problem, I mean, if we would have tackled everything at once, we wouldn't be here today, to be honest. So we tried to rank on low and high effort and impact what we had. So we had a good mix of quick wins and long-term solutions as a starting point for showing some real impact fast with quick wins like renaming or cleaning up naming conventions and key tables, but also some long-term solutions like implementing a company-wide data catalog. So this mix was a good mix of showing impact fast, but also laying the groundwork for data governance, which can develop over time.
Right. So, and once we had set our priorities and identified both the quick wins and the long-term needs, the challenge now was to focus. And we had uncovered many problems, but we couldn't solve them all at once. So we needed to funnel them and to pick one use case that would show value quickly.
Exactly, and there are different elements of data governance which can be important. Here, with this project, we decided to focus on data quality and data access. In other projects, it might have been compliance and security, but this was not our top priority here. And it should align with the business goals, as I already said. It should not be like a side project. Data governance should create value. And this is why we came up with predicting training and further education positions as a use case, because it was small enough to create value, but also big enough to make an impact in the organization.
Yes, and so once we had defined the use case, it was time to really look at the data. And at first we thought, well, it just needs a little bit cleanup, but very quickly we realized that that wouldn't be enough. So then what started as a governance initiative suddenly turned out into building a whole new environment. And honestly, Jana, yeah. We got a bit carried away with that, but in a good way though, but we learned a lot.
Yeah, exactly. As our focus was on data access, we figured out, okay, we need a new setup. This is why we set up a virtual machine as a safe playground where we can just experiment and try different things out. As we identified our relevant data sources first, we built ETL pipelines and stored them in our mini data warehouse. We used a PostgreSQL one for this because we only used open source tools for doing so, because it was easy for trying out. And then we used a data catalog as a governance tool where we could classify the data, define data domains, and also ownership. And we connected everything with the existing BI tool so that people could use the tools they already used for analyzing the data. Yeah, with this, we built the technical groundwork for our governance to make smart data access actually possible.
All right, so now we had the infrastructure set, but the real question was how to govern the data. And until then, the responsibility was kind of vague and unclear, and everyone was using the data, but there was no one really owned the data. So, and without ownership, it was impossible to ensure quality, access, or accountability at all.
Exactly. In a good governance approach, governance is linked to the people who actually work with the data, and everybody has clear responsibilities. Data ownership was a key thing we didn't have before and we needed to solve, and these are the key roles we defined for tackling the problem. So data owner defines the strategic value of the data and decide about data access and usage. The data stewards maintain the data on a daily basis and reassure the data quality. The data architect manages the technical storage and protection of the data, and the data analyst uses the data to generate insights and support the decisions. So by defining these roles, we turned governance from an abstract to a shared responsibility with clear accountabilities among the roles.
Yes, and now we had the roles, okay, but we still needed to bring them to life. And it's one thing to say you're the data steward, you're the data owner, you're whatever, but people wanted to know what's my responsibility, and how do we work together without stepping on every other's toes in the daily business?
Exactly, and it's one thing to have these roles on paper, but how do they actually work in practice? So we mapped the key processes against the roles. Here are some example processes, for example, request data access, assess strategic value of the data, or also ensure data quality and consistency. And for doing so, we used a RACI matrix and defined who is responsible, accountable, needs to be consulted or informed within these processes. For example, for requesting data access, the data analyst should request the access by themselves and is responsible. The data owner is accountable for allowing or denying the access, and the data steward and data architect needs to be informed in this process. So by doing so, we don't only have the rules, but everybody knows what they actually need to do in practice. And of course, over time, there are more processes coming, and it's like not fixed, it's going to develop, but we laid the ground foundation for doing so.
So now we come slowly to an end of this process, and the last thing is security. And at the beginning, we said security wasn't our main focus, but of course, you cannot talk about security as an if you talk about access, data access. And the challenge was now how to protect the personal information without blocking the people from using the data who need them. So how did we finish that?
Exactly, and this is by changing, coming from system access to a smart access. By changing the whole data infrastructure, now we had the opportunity in our data catalog to label the data and classify them if they are PII sensitive or not. Based on the sensitivity label, we defined role-specific access rights for the different roles within the company. And now, based on the role, they are allowed to use the data in the data warehouse or not, depending on the access. And this circle is working also when we have new use cases, new data entering the data warehouse, the metadata entering the data catalog. We classify the data there, and so it's a circle working over and over again. And yeah, people can use the data they are supposed to, but not the ones they are not allowed to.
Maybe it's some time for a sum up.
Yeah.
Jana?
Let's sum up.
We'll give it a try.
Okay. I would say the whole journey in total took us more or less 8 months. And the real value and strength is its structure, but it's also scalable. It's by adding new use cases, the governance approach can grow naturally within the business. And it's creating real value because it supports working with the data on a daily basis and not blocking access anymore for the people. Yeah, it supports daily work. Right now, at this stage, we're still evaluating because it's still in a test environment what we need to do to take this environment on a productive stage. If we want to go with the open source tooling or maybe swap to something else, this is something we're figuring out at the moment, just to give you a hint.
Yeah. Jana, I also would like to take the chance to share my 3 takeaways from that project. You want to hear it?
Sure. Go for it, please.
All right. My first takeaway, it's not really only about data governance, but it's about working in this kind of project, in this kind of organization. Tell other colleagues about your plans, but don't wait until you need their support. Very important, maybe you have made the experience as well. It helps enormously if everyone in the team is also convinced of the result we're heading at. And 3, don't underestimate the unpredictable and always include it in your planning. So.
Good ones. So thank you for listening. If you're interested in our step-by-step approach, you also can download it here in German though. Yeah, thank you.
We're done.